Face the Fats campaign.
You're listening to AchieveRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.
Welcome, everybody. Good evening. It is Monday evening, November 24th, and this is Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. I'm Jenny Gunther, also known as Jenny Almighty, and I'll be with you for the next 2 hours, along with Dr. Carolyn Dean, presenting you with amazing and wonderful fun information about health, vitality, and well-being, and how you can achieve it in the most simple and basic of ways using the complement formulas formulated by Dr. Carolyn Dean, and just some good old-fashioned common sense. Before we bring Dr. Dean to the air this evening, we just want to remind everybody that not only is Dr. Dean a medical doctor, but also a naturopath, herbalist, acupuncturist, nutritionist, lecturer, consultant, and author of over 30 books, including the best-selling The Magnesium Miracle, which is available at Amazon.com for those of you who have yet to get the copy of the 2014 edition. We're very pleased to have Dr. Dean with us. She is also graduated from Dalhousie Medical School in 1978, and she is a graduate of the Ontario College of Naturopathic Medicine as well, as being the medical doctor of the Nutritional Magnesium Association. So without any further ado, we invite to the stage Dr. Carolyn Dean, and the crowd goes wild.
Thank you, Jenny. Just looking up my Magnesium Miracle book on Amazon. It is still #1 in vitamins and supplements. So it seems that the public does want this book. They want it to be #1, and I'm having people write to me and say they're making it their Christmas present for this year. Everybody in the family, all their friends are going to get Magnesium Miracle books for Christmas. So I think that's fabulous. I mean, they're giving the gift of life to their people. But I think we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, and people are following through, so that's fabulous.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that's a brilliant idea, and they should all not only get them the book, but they should probably also get the family a bottle of Remag to go with the book that they're going to be getting. Not that we're trying to convince people of buying a bunch of products that's not what we're about, but it is funny to me sitting on the customer service line many days and talking with people. They quite literally become so anxious when they find out what magnesium can do that they call in and they can't wait to get their magnesium. They're just like, oh, where can I get this? Can I buy it locally? Because when you tell somebody that they that has been convinced that they're they're diabetic or whatever, that you don't have diabetes, you have a magnesium deficiency, or they think they have sleep apnea or whatever, and whatever the symptom is, when they realize that it can be alleviated with magnesium, oh my gosh, they just go belongas, as well they should. So, and then of course the precipitation of the ordering and stuff occurs, and they can't wait to get it. So, get the book and then get a bottle of Remain. Just make it simple on your family. That's the generous plan. Yeah.
Yeah, and over the holidays, there's going to be so much more stress on people, not just the stress of confronting family members and having all the old triggers come up and, the tension of all that. There's also the dietary stress, and I was just interviewed today about that, and the question was, what would you recommend in terms of dealing with a holiday diet? They wanted me to recommend what foods to eat and this and that. And I said, well, you can't really go to a big party and make everybody feel uncomfortable because you say, oh, no, this I can't eat this. This isn't good for me. What I said was take extra magnesium and extra vitamin C, because and I didn't say this in the interview, but I'll say it on our show, take Realign, because Realign is going to help you metabolize any alcohol you drink or any sugars you drink. Vitamin C will help metabolize sugars as well, and so will magnesium. And magnesium is going to help metabolize your proteins and fats as well, and help increase your stomach hydrochloric acid to deal with, 3 pounds of turkey coming down the chute.
That's right, and then once they get...
Oh, okay, I just wanted to say, Carolyn and I have a lovely time during the Christmas holidays. We've been doing this for 30 years because we don't celebrate Christmas. Everybody's distracted, killing themselves, and we just get to enjoy the peace and quiet. I get a lot of work done during the holidays. It's incredible. I love the holidays because I don't celebrate them.
Thank you, Bob.
Very good, Bob.
Carol's not gotten a Christmas present for me in 40 years.
Thank you. Thank you. That is
sharing
our unique health style.
Bob the Grinch.
Yes,
well, Carol, you're part of it. You led us in this direction. You refused to celebrate Christmas 40 years ago, and I happily went along with it.
Well, it was after Bob gave me the first Christmas present, and it was so ridiculous. I figured,
we stopped that.
This guy, I got to stop this. I got to nip this in the bud. I'm not going to put up with a lifetime of ridiculous Christmas presents.
She didn't give me one. I didn't want anything, but I made the mistake of attempting to communicate, and happily it failed, and we've been free of that problem
ever since. Okay, mute Bob.
I wish the same for you, Ginny.
You were going to say something, Ginny?
Thank you. What I was going to say is that after you get done with all the obvious culprits, then you've got to throw the RNA drops in the mix, Carolyn, because the RNA drops that I sell is going to be in there consuming everything that magnesium and sugar and vitamin C do not know what to do with. And there's a lot of that in our food we are discovering. So, all the complement formulas are just essential for daily life, but especially at the holidays. Another thing that you mentioned, Carolyn, too, were the triggers. And I was just talking to somebody today who said, I've been taking the RNA drops for a couple months, and my family is not bothering me right now. They just don't. They cannot push my buttons anymore. So that's also very good. Very, very good.
Right, and it's almost we're giving people license to be detached. They feel detached, and the words we speak and everything. Like Bob's saying, why celebrate Christmas if you don't want to? State your case. And as one of our customers said, there's no reason for people to be sick in this day and age. And this was actually a letter to his family. And the subject is getting very boring. He says, I sat next to a 93-year-old man on the bus on the weekend who had just run in the marathon. Clearly, he has decided to declare himself fit for living. I say, get healthy, get happy, or get the hell out. and I'm not going to suffer all. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is your Christmas. Right. This is your Christmas speech, folks. And he continued, I'm not going to suffer all these woes for much longer. I've already made myself very clear on this. If someone is sick, take Dr. Dean's products, or I don't want to hear about it.
Well, that's good, though, because really, I mean, isn't that, what life is for living, and certainly not for being, compulsively fearful over these issues around health. And the complement formulas really do get it all done, and then you can just, go to the beach, have fun, enjoy life, do whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and you do have to have this distance from your health, from what's going on, from even this latest article that it did throw me for a loop. I'm not one that gets upset easily, but because I've seen so much. I mean, I've wrote Death by Modern Medicine, for Pete's sakes, but this really got to me. It's by Dr. Pamela Wible, W-I-B-L-E. I think that's how you pronounce it. She's a medical doctor, and she wrote. She's written a book, and she wrote in Medscape, and I saw this title, Physician Suicide 101, Secrets, Lies, and Solutions. It already has 544 comments. I think it's been out about a week. And what she talks about is how medicine just became too overwhelming for her. Her medical education was very suppressive. She felt that she was always being criticized and chastised. I mean, it's much broader and deeper than that. This is an 11-page article, and people should look it up. Physician Suicide 101, Secrets, Lies, and Solutions by Pamela Wible. So she goes on to talk about how she just decided it was too much. She was suicidal, but she decided to call a town hall meeting in the town practicing, and she was begging her patients, and she said even strangers, to help her design an ideal clinic and define an ideal doctor. She said she'd lost her way. And so the feedback she got, they talked through this meeting, and the people in the audience were saying an ideal doctor has a big heart, great love for people, and service. An ideal clinic is a sanctuary, a safe place, a place of wisdom where we can learn to live harmlessly, listen with empathy, and observe without judgment. It's a place where revolution starts, where we discover our priorities with relaxed appointments, smiley face balloons, fun flannel gowns. And then she said a bearded guy in the back of the room raised his hand and asked a question I'll never forget. Is it possible to find a doctor who's happy? Now that just kind of almost broke me up, because doctors are not happy. But, I've read through all 11 pages of this article, and she's doing TED Talks. She's got a website. She's now got her ideal clinic. Not one word about what the elephant in the corner hiding under the rug, which is the options offered by these doctors are drugs and surgery, chemotherapy. What are you supposed to do? Go into this safe, empathetic environment, hold the doctor's hand, and be guided to take your drugs when there are options and choices? I was both upset and incensed that it's like people are settling. They're settling for, I'm going to fight for the right to have bad medicine and bad medical training, or am I going to fight for good medicine and good medical training? But the bottom line is, at this stage of the game, medicine is drug-based, and it's a bad medicine for so many people. So I was just kind of overwhelmed. I wanted to write in and say, well, look, I'm a happy doctor because it seems like people are getting better with the options that I'm giving them. I don't make them take drugs. I give them basic building blocks that get them off their drugs, and they're happy, and they write to me every day. Bob's always talking about that to people. You know, there can't be any other doctor on the planet who gets more letters than I do about people, you know, getting so much healthier. But I didn't do that because it would have seemed too self-serving. It's like, well, I'm happy because I, you know, give people my products, and they just say, oh, you're trying to sell something, because they don't want to see that there's any other answer. Doctors in medical school never learned any options other than drugs. So they're trying to be happy in their drug-based medicine, and they're not going to be happy. So instead of writing into this Medscape form, I did the next best thing. I emailed Lynn Fouch, our Olympian athlete who lives in the area, and she's going to pay a visit to Dr. Whibley and tell her how she can expand her practice to actually help people, not just pat them on the head and say, well, I know you're going to lose your hair and you're going to vomit and you're going to feel horrible, but we still love you. I mean, what kind of medicine is that? So there's my rant.
There's your rant. Right, and it's not funny, but I was just laughing at the image I got of you standing with your fists clenched, you know, so passionate about what you're declaring, and it is very, very true, and you do get tons and tons of feedback from people who have very positive things to say because they are feeling better. And, this poor gal is obviously buried under a huge mass of, medical bureaucrucies and stuff like that. Bob has said before that doctors are the new priests, and there's a lot of corruption in that system too, and well-intentioned or good-hearted people who got in it to serve get caught up in the mix. And it sounds like this gal, because who would really actually try to take her own life just because she found herself so incompatible with what she would done when she set out to do something, as sincerely as you have, which is to just, make a difference for people so that they could feel better using some very basic things. So it's definitely gotten out of control. But I think this is a great article. I did look at it. And one of the things also, Carolyn, is that I was under the impression that the dental field was a huge area of suicide because they know that they intentionally, they're inflicting pain on people. This is what I've been told. I don't know if that's necessarily accurate, but it seems like this is what's happening with this physician suicide article, is that they're realizing that they're not helping and they feel powerless about it.
Well, what happens with dentists is they've been exposed to mercury all their lives. So they can actually be getting the Mad Hatter disease. They can be having, mental disturbance because they're being poisoned.
Wow.
That's part of it as well. So we've got these two professions who are supposedly in the helping, healing professions. And what kid at age 19 knows enough about medicine and dentistry to know that what's being done is incompatible with ongoing life? I wrote about this in my recent blog. Where is my blog? About vending machines on campus. What did you think of that? Dispensing drugs on campus.
That was shocking. You had mentioned that on last week's show. And I shared that with several people, and of course, Savannah's home from college this week, and we talked about. She said every single one of her friends is just stressed to the max. She's not surprised by that at all. She's not, of course, because she takes all the products. She's happy, but she says most of her friends are just miserable, and she wasn't surprised in the least.
Wow. Right, right. So the way I wrote it up, I don't know if I talked about it this way last week, but you've got kids on ADHD medication. I remember in New York when I was doing the AIDS clinic, or AIDS and chronic fatigue, one of the patients, she was a teacher and did an after-school program up in the higher east end of Manhattan. So it's a wealthy section. And she said that every one of her 12 after-school kids was on Ritalin. Every one of them. So this is what this is what happens to the bright young kids, from rich families who have it all. They're being drugged so early on, and see, then they figure that's the norm. It's normal to take a drug if you don't sleep, or if you're tired or stressed, or take a drug for everything.
Well, if I was 19, Carolyn, I would be distressed in North America, because it's obvious that the human species has been wiped off the map in North American conditions, and maybe most of the West. That is the fact. And a young person sees that, and they immediately turn their corpse over to be programmed. That's why medicine is ruled by drugs. And I'm not going to try to prove this. These are just the facts that require a bit of perception to get. But anybody who listens to your show after a while will feel that way.
Right, right. And I wrote about that in Death by Modern Medicine in the Death by Media chapter, talking about the different bodies we have. Kids grow up on the internet, and they're ruled by their chip body and their cell phones, and they don't even talk much anymore. They can be standing beside one another texting and not talking. So they've lost touch with their bodies.
With human communication.
Human communication, yeah. They become digital thumbs. But anyway, yes, let's move on, because it's not all doom and disaster.
That's right.
The sky is falling. It doesn't have to fall on any of us, because we have solutions.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So welcome again. This is Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, again, about halfway through our first hour in the show. Thank you for listening, tuning in, calling in, however you've connected with us this evening, or also in the archives. If you are listening right now and you have a question or comment for Dr. Carolyn Dean, you can hit star 5 on your keypad, and that will raise your hand and let me know that you have something to say, and we will put you on the phone with Dr. Dean, and you can chat with her one-on-one. If you're listening through the computer and you have a question that you'd just like to submit, you can also do that by emailing us and through the InQuick messaging system, and that's just on the right-hand side of your screen. Just go ahead and type in your question, and we'll read it here online. And also you can use the InQuick and public chat room to chat with Bob and keep him occupied.
Keep him off the phone.
Very good. All right. So first of all, let's do a quick InQuick message, Carolyn, and then we'll take our phone calls. Melanie in Canada. Hi, Dr. Carolyn and Jenny. I'm wondering if it makes a difference as to how much water is used to sip on Remag and Relight throughout the day. I put 2.5 teaspoons of Remag and 2 teaspoons of Relight and a teaspoon of Himalayan salt and 2 layers of water and sip it throughout the day. But would it be more effective if I only used 1 liter of water so the Remag and Relight would be more concentrated? Thank you.
No, I think you have it right, Melanie, I do say put it in a liter of water, but if you can get those 2 liters done throughout the day, it's best to space it out as widely as possible. It makes sure that the Remag and Relight are diluted enough that they'll probably most of it is going to be accepted into the cells as the cells have their turnover. You certainly aren't anywhere near the people who might do 1 dose a day, where you'll overload your cells and the rest of it will go out in the urine and some even in the intestines. I had a headache the other day, and through the morning I had 3 teaspoons of Remag, one shot after the other over, about a 2.5, 3 hour period, and I developed the laxative effect because I just overloaded, and that's just a waste. So as long as you get the 2 liters down during the day, then you're fine, and it sounds good.
Very good. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and take some calls. Carolyn, we'll go to the phones, and then we'll work through plug on our mailbag. If you're ready, we'll go to area code 212. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, area code 212, you're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Stephanie Lee.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, how are you?
Fine.
Question. What do you feel, because now I follow a whole food plant-based diet, and I'm extraordinarily healthy, like awesomely so. And when I listen a little bit to your Ion, and he's always saying to eat more protein, and it seems to me like the healthiest looking, most gorgeous people as they get older eat only a moderate amount of protein, and the ones that I look to for inspiration. So
it's a great question, but everybody is different. I have gone by the blood type diet for many years, and it may be that you're an A blood group or an A, B, or a B and do better on a plant diet. What is your blood type?
I have no idea.
So there's that consideration. I know myself, when I started getting into natural medicine, all the rage was vegetarianism and even macrobiotics. And every time I tried to do a vegetarian diet, I almost died. And then I found out I was an O blood type and always do better on animal protein. Dr. Nick Gonzalez, he treats pancreatic cancer in New York, and he follows a kind of a metabolic approach and finds that some of his cancer patients need protein and some of them don't. So everybody's an individual. To prescribe, overall that someone should do this or that has gotten a lot of people into trouble. I get 50, 60-year-olds now who've been vegetarians for 20, 30 years, and their teeth are falling out and their hormones are all a mess because they never had enough protein for them. Vegetarianism, there's only 4% of vegetarians in the whole of the U.S. and 0.8% are vegans. So if vegetarianism is so hot, why aren't more people doing it? So I have all kinds of back and forth arguments about it, but mainly it's how you feel. If you feel great on a plant-based diet, great. But in a sense, keep it to yourself, because somebody else may think, oh gosh, I guess I should be on a plant-based diet. And then like me, I get pneumonia almost in the first month of doing a macrobiotic diet because I did not have enough protein to keep the fluid out of my lungs.
Hey, Carolyn, Stephanie listens to Ion, I know that, and maybe she didn't get the main point, the main warning Ion's giving, is that our substance, our reality in this, the material, whatever, of this reality we're in has changed and is changing. And if you don't get tuned into that and you get help by the RNA drops, you will find a lot of feeling out of sync with things. And I think Ion says you need to eat more protein because of this change. So that's a factor. You don't have to believe it, Stephanie, but that is what Ion's saying. Am I right, Ginny? Isn't that what Ion's saying?
Well, yes, the amino acids, if you look at the work of anybody who's, well-versed on cell replication, I mean, you can look at the videos, is what I'm trying to suggest on YouTube, and you'll see the incredible importance of amino acids that come through the cell replication process to actually make new proteins. If those amino acids are not available to the body, the cell won't replicate proteins in the way that it can. You're talking about optimizing your cell replication process, and when you look at the constituents of the amino acids that are required for cell replication, the amino acids from animal proteins are essential, and that includes milk and meats and, fish and chicken and things. So there are, and unfortunately, aren't available in plants. That's just the reality.
I have to drink the mammary secretions of bovines in order to be healthy? That's weird.
Stephanie, we're not going to get into a diet debate because it's gone on for centuries. You can eat whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want. We're just saying, giving the information as Ion has said it. I'm saying my predisposition is to an animal-based diet, and I get
and
that.
That's not relevant to the point Ion's making. All of us are subject to this change, and Ion goes into hours explaining how the change happened. Humanity was not ready for it. It's happening, and you're going to feel out of sorts unless you tune into Ion products. That's the thing that Ion's saying. You don't have to believe it, but that's what Ion is warning people about. That's the radical new statement. All of our scientific knowledge based on this diet or that diet is irrelevant when the reality of matter is changing.
Yeah, Ion gives us formulas for the new environment. There is a new environment being created out there, whether we think it's because of the Fukushima radiation or all the pollution creating this new environment. And we are in the complement formula world, in the Ion world, we are learning how to adapt to that so that we don't feel that things are toxic to us. I think Ginny mentioned it earlier, you take your RNA drops to process your Thanksgiving dinner better.
Right, because
it's up to you. Mm-hmm.
It is up to you, and the thing that, and you could make whatever choice, and I know when we were doing the Rewrite series, we had several vegan people who were on that series with us. We were learning about these chemical constituents and the building of amino acids and proteins for proper cell replication, and they were very resistant to the information, but they started to experiment with things that they felt comfortable with. So you obviously were somewhat repugnant about the bovine, whatever animal, cow's milk or whatever. Don't do that. Do something that you feel is a little less offensive to your mind, or allow yourself to catch up with your own knowing that it is imperative for your own cellular health to adapt, and part of the adaptation is consuming animal-based amino acids.
It has to be animal. Okay.
Well, you're getting amino acids from your plants already. I'm saying when you look at what you're lacking, animal-based amino acids are going to be beneficial for the cell replication process, and the body does require them.
Okay, that's what Ion says. Okay.
No, that's just known. I mean, that's not their personal peccadillo. What they're saying is that they're making a very loud statement for the fact that if you're already replicating cells and those animal-based amino acids are required for the body's replication process, then how much more are they required now with the body being so deficient in so many other variables? You want to put an end to the deficiencies of the body. And that
well, you're assuming I'm deficient. That's a big assumption.
Well, if you're not using animal-based amino acids, that's all.
I would have to be. Okay.
Look at it for yourself. Like Carolyn says, we're not telling you, we're just...
No, I'm not. I didn't say I was. I was asking about protein requirements. I'm not a vegetarian.
Okay. All right.
Well, you said you were on a whole food plant-based diet. Isn't that a
that means you
diet?
It means you eat mostly plants. My diet's based on plants.
Okay, Stephanie, what do you want to know? We're getting way off topic here. What exactly do you want to know?
How much do you think the protein requirement is?
That's a huge topic, too. I mean, I could give you grams. I've written modules on it. It has to be how you feel. It really does have to be individual. Yeah, it really has to be exactly how you feel. Oh, I keep my diary, my food diary. I feel better after I have 2 eggs instead compared to having a piece of toast. I feel better this way or that way. Nobody can say exactly how much. I tried to lay it out in the module. It took me about 10 pages to do it. So it's not, there's never going to be, like 40 grams everybody should have. Well, that you can't really say it that way. It really has to be worked out, and that's a problem we've gotten ourselves into, where we're trying to define everything for everybody, and that's just not possible.
Well, thank you for your time.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. No, it brings up a good point. Let's go on to area code 248. I think we're in the great state of Michigan. You're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Go ahead and give us your name and then state your question or comment this evening.
Hi, my name is Michael Zakarian. First of all, thank you, Dr. Dean, for doing everything you've done to bring awareness of a natural healing to the masses. It's so needed. Years and years ago, 81, I had an intracerebral brain hemorrhage, and have been on medication ever since for seizures, Dilantin, Keppra, Ativan, and typically have 2 to 3 migraines a week. So I take a Maxalt MLT for that, which is the first thing that's ever worked for me. So, my wife was on last week. She just started taking the Remag and the Relight and the Realign and the RNA. So, I've been into natural health for a long time, but I straddle the fence. So I just wanted to get your insight on the meds and the fogginess in the brain and all those things and what you
Right. How old are you, Michael?
56. Yeah.
Good for you. How many years ago was the brain hemorrhage?
33 years ago now.
Ah. And with the medications, are you having any seizures, or do they suppress them all?
Oh, they suppressed them. Last seizure I had was about 10 years ago now. I think when they introduced Keppra to the mix, and it did stop them, which is good, obviously.
And what's your intention? Do you want to try to cut back on the meds, or you're saying you'd like to deal with the brain fog and fuzziness?
Yeah, well, I do. I have a very intense business. I do, marketing and, all the digital stuff that's going on in the world. So I'm, obviously I'd love to cut back on the meds to see if I get more brain clarity and also sleep better. I have sleep apnea as well, and, yeah, it's safe to just get off these things, because I've been a neurologist, and everyone's got a different opinion, but I've not been on magnesium for any extensive periods of time in any kind of quality solution. So.
Right. I don't know enough about your case. I just have to sort of talk about it in general. I think one of the questions would be, are you overweight?
About 20 pounds, yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. When I hear about fuzzy brain, I wonder about yeast overgrowth. That might be somewhere to go, but certainly the medications can be an aspect in the fuzziness. And I guess what I do with my clients who come to me with this type of history is just say to start with the Remag and use magnesium as if it were a food. It's not a medication. It's just a food that you're not getting in your daily diet, and just very slowly introduce the Remag, because it will detoxify, it will help to metabolize the medications faster and clear them from your body, and just gradually see how you feel on that. A month into Remag, where you're increasing it by a quarter teaspoon every couple of days, I would tell my clients to then add the Relight, and the Relight is going to help with the organs and tissues, etc. And the Realign would be helpful. It's just going to make glutathione, which is an antioxidant that will help with the drug metabolites. See, what happens when you take medications, it's not it's not just that chemical medication that's working on the body. As soon as it sweeps through the liver starts breaking down that medication into other metabolites. Some of those metabolites are more toxic than the drug you took, and some of them are less toxic, but they'll create layers of toxicity in the body. And the Realign will help get those toxic aspects out of the body sooner, so that alone can help clear the brain. And it's just a couple of sulfur-based amino acids and methylated Bs. So again, it's like a food. The RNA drops, I mean, that helps in so many ways. I mean, we have people with chronic health conditions who tell us that it's brought them back, but we can't make any guarantees. I can make guarantees about magnesium and the other minerals, but not so much RNA drops because it works differently on everybody. So I would just say go really slowly. I think Ginny can tell us where. Oh, I know where we put it too. In the REMAG book, Michael, you can get my free REMAG book at rnareset.com under the FAQs, and in the first few pages I talk about dosing with the complement formulas, and I lay it out for a person such as yourself, where you start by increasing your water intake and put sea salt in it, and then you start, I think I say, with the Realign to start detoxing, and then add the REMAG and the Relight and the RNA drops. So it's a nice graduated approach to someone who's on a lot of medications and likely toxic.
Yeah, I remember years and years ago, probably 20 years ago, when I quit smoking, my Dilantin level went up because I didn't need it as much anymore, and it had kind of a counter effect where you felt like you were seizure bound in many ways. So they cut back on the medication because I was over. I didn't need as much anymore. So that was the concern, is I start, detoxifying and eliminating a lot of the things that are holding me back, but the medication perhaps has inhibited me from having, will I need less, and then will I have kind of a counterintuitive effect,
right.
as I am now.
Exactly. Yeah, I talk about that in the REMAG book as well. As you're weaning off medications, you should do, obviously, with your neurologist and get your levels checked periodically and just really pay attention to what's going on. But it's not a slam dunk, and we don't know how each individual is going to react, but that's why I said at the outset, what's your intention? Do you just want to feel a bit better, or do you want to wean off your meds? And, if you just want to feel a bit better, take some REMAG, and that's it. But if you want to do some healing where you might not need as much of the medication, then you would do all the complement formulas.
Yes. Well, I have arthritic issues as well, so I know there's something. I know I can improve greatly in where I'm at, but I'm not that bad. I've been drinking close to a gallon of clean water for 20 years now, so that's always been a good thing. But I want to introduce some more intelligent solutions, literally, into my body. So.
Right.
A couple of the challenges as you age,
Right. And, yeah, it's great that your wife is taking them because you can watch her experience. And what I keep saying to people who are toxic or on medications or have real serious conditions is just go really, really slowly. And that's all you need to do. And then you'll have all your answers as you go slowly, and you think, people will say to me, wow, I just don't feel I need that much medication anymore. And it's like, okay, well, then you go to the doctor, get your levels checked, see if you can cut back. But you have to pay attention. That's, you're not going to get me or any doctor telling you exactly what to do and exactly what's going to happen, because it's a day-to-day event that you have to pay attention to.
correct. Yep. Well, that's awesome advice, and I think that I'm going to introduce it slowly, as you said, and just move forward.
Very good.
And,
yeah,
and,
keep
and
us posted,
and
Michael.
expect that my body will react and heal,
Oh yeah, your body wants to be perfect. This is the whole thing. That's what makes this so easy. Is your body it has the blueprint of perfect cells. The RNA drops actually clean up that blueprint and make it even more effective, and gets your chromosome 14 and the labyrinth of the mind out of the way if you're thinking you can be perfect. Because look how many years ago this was, and you're still thinking you need 4 meds or having migraines and all the rest of it. Well, let's do the remeg and get rid of those migraines first.
I'll go for that. It's a difficult thing to deal with day in and day out, and you're learning new things every day with clients and managing things. It's a very complex business, and you need to be clear-minded and on top of things. So anything that helps, with that, and also with quality of life, and what I can give to others as a result of that is really optimal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good, Michael. Keep us posted.
You bet. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Very good. We're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com Monday evening, and we're going to continue with our live calls. Thank you, call-in guests, area code 919, North Carolina. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Sure. My name is Ramona. How are you, Dr. Dean? How's everything in Hawaii?
Very good. Well, yeah, you don't have to ask that. It's always perfect. Thanks, Ramona.
I know. I envy that. One day I can get down there. Okay, because I'm in a cold area. I have a few questions. The first question I want to find out, I do kind of battling with overgrowth of candida, and I did read some of your articles in terms of staying away from dairy. I wanted to find out, I have acquired some raw milk, and I wanted to see if I made some kefir, would that be considered staying away from dairy as well as making my own yogurt?
Yes, if you look at Donna Gates' work, Donna Gates, Gates, she's online. Yes. She's actually selling kefir starters, and I think it's well known that if you process dairy in that way, it metabolizes the lactose, so that lactose milk sugar is no longer around to feed the candida. So a lot of people will benefit from kefir.
Okay, great. I'm going to do my own. Okay, the other thing that I know you mentioned something about the water and how we should take at least, I guess, half our body weight. I do that anyway, but I like to drink a lot more water than that. So should I be putting Himalayan salt in any water that I drink, or is that maybe too much water for me? Because I can drink a good maybe a gallon and a half. I really only need maybe 80 ounces, but I could drink a lot more than that because I like drinking water. I find water very soothing. So should I just continue to put Himalayan salt in all the water I drink, or maybe that's just too much water for my body?
How much do you weigh, Ramona?
I weigh about maybe 160.
Mm-hmm. Is your mouth dry? Do you think it's...
No, it isn't. Because I don't like to drink a lot of juice because of my candida. So I don't,
right.
So I just substitute water for it instead.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know you. I don't really know exactly what to say, but I'm just thinking that that's a lot of water, and what happens when you drink water without the sea salt in it, it'll flush through you. But then again, I don't want you taking several teaspoons of sea salt a day. Personally, I would cut back on the water intake.
Okay.
Myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wanted to ask you also, because I get your, the newsletters, which are fantastic. I love every week getting and reading. I'm like, okay, what else I have to do today? So I wanted to find out with the, I'm planning on wanting to realign. Now, when I do that, is this something where you're supposed to continue? Because, it is trashing out, leaving all the metals. Do you do it for one time only and do it maybe every 3 or 4 months, or is it something you do continuously, like drinking Remag?
Yeah, the Realign is a daily product. We would like to think you just detox, like you say, seasonally or whatever. But I guess with if you're on especially people on the RNA drops, they're having this higher cell turnover, and we want to take out the trash, or environmentally just to help the body take out the trash. So it is a daily 1 or 2 capsules a day.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, sounds great. Let's see. I think I had another question. Oh God, left my brain. Guess I better go run and get some drinks on Remag. I'm just teasing. But I mean, I know what it was. The beef. I just got finished reading about the beef, and I do take beef. I think it's important. But I just didn't realize, because I was always eating the grass-fed beef. I didn't realize there's such thing as organic grass-fed beef. Is that organic meaning the grass has to be organic?
Yes. I mean, it's what is it, free range or whatever. I mean, that's the most optimum. But at the same time, Ramona, like we try to say here, try not to be too fanatic. I wrote those modules in the Completement Now. Actually, a lot of it before I got into the Completement formulas and ION, but it's kind of for optimum, that would be great, but you do whatever you can.
Yeah, usually I just try to get, I haven't seen in my area, I've seen grass, so that's what I usually get. It's grass-fed, and I just said, I didn't know they had organic grass-fed. I'm like, okay, but I agree with you. You just do what you can, and then you kind of listen to the body, and if the body's agreeing, you feel good after you eat it, then it's okay, you know what I mean? Because I think that's how you have to kind of judge yourself by how you feel afterwards. But other than that, like I said, I am still doing the Remag, and I've just started taking the RNA drops, and I do feel a sense of, I think, maybe peace or happiness or something like. It's kind of odd. It's kind of weird. At first, I was kind of scared of. I didn't know what to expect from it, and I'm still at the point. I'm just doing like a drop twice a day, and I just find it gives me, like a peaceful, good sense of the world is okay kind of attitude. So I thank you for that very much. So, and I'm looking forward to really ordering all the products, eventually. But I wanted to ask you these questions, and of course, it's been a delight speaking with you. I hope to speak with you again.
Oh, thank you, Ramona. Good speaking with you.
No problem.
And yeah, Ginny was saying that to me the other day, that she can't believe the number of people who call her and say, well, yeah, I do have RNA drops, but they're sitting in my fridge. I don't know what to do with them, or I'm scared of them, but that's why we say just take one drop, and here you are saying sense of peace and happiness on 1 or 2 drops. Wow.
That's right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind, being an advocate, because that's what I did. I look forward to it, and like I said, I wasn't afraid of it. I said, okay, either you're gonna hurt me, you're gonna help me, and here we go. So I find that it's definitely seemed to be helping me, because I have more of almost like a peaceful sense of just life, really. So I'm going to continue with that, and maybe I'll introduce them even to people around me. So anyway, it's nice talking with you, and have a good one.
Okay. Happy holidays, right. Ramona. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, very good. We love Ramona. No,
yeah, she
so
gets
precious.
A yay.
She does get a yay. It's so precious, because there are a lot of people out there, like I said, like Ramona, and they are just not certain what to expect, but then they start using the drops, and my gosh, all of a sudden I'm starting to think the world is in such a bad place, and I might actually want to live, and there's things to look forward to. It's very, very much part of the what happens. So very good. Well, we do have other callers on the line, but we're coming to the top of the hour. What would you like to do? You want to try to get another call in before the top of the hour, or what?
Let's do a couple of mailbag because we don't want to cut people off. So let me go there, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, this, I think it's a male. After an accident resulting in a double broken neck 6 years ago. So by that, I think it means 2 vertebrae were broken. I was left with twitching fingers and cramping most days. The cramping was in the fingers, forearm, and even in the calves and thighs. I read Magnesium Miracle and started taking picometer magnesium and natural calm. Due to my age, I needed a lot and still do, but it has taken care of all the cramping and twitching and more. I always know when I'm low because my fingers are the first to start with the cramps. I also take extra when anything stressful causes anxiety. I've been recommending it to all my family members and clients. Isn't that cool? Yay!
Very nice. Wait a minute. Hold on. I was not by my yay button. Wait a minute. Okay.
And then this is a longer one. Let me jump to something. No, that's long. I was wondering if you could tell me if magnesium adversely affects stomach acid, as in an alkaline effect, and therefore could affect and allow stomach bacterial growth, such as H. pylori. Yeah, I mean, this person's gotten a reference of magnesium that's used as an antacid, and magnesium, actually, the elemental magnesium that you get in Remag, what that does actually is increases stomach acid production to help digestion. So it's going to do the opposite of these magnesium carbonate type antacids. So yeah, there's so much information out there on the internet. People just don't know how to discern, what's good and what's bad. So that's the answer to that question. And I think are we at the top of the hour, Ginny?
Yes, we are approaching the top of the hour. This is Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Again, if you have questions, be back with us next hour. You can call in at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. The lines will be open again at the top of the hour, and you can also quick message us at Achieve Radio Studio A through the quick messaging system. We will be back in the next hour with more Dr. Dean, more mailbag, and more live callers. Stay with us, everybody. Thanks for calling. Again, Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
Carolyn Bean here on AchieveRadio.com, hour 2 of our 2-hour broadcast this evening. Thank you for all of our callers and listeners who called in to participate with us this Thanksgiving week here in the United States. Of course, we have listeners from all over the world. Always thankful for everybody, particularly focused on it this week because we've got a national holiday devoted to gratitude, which can't be a bad thing, even though we do, overindulge with the food and stuff. But the attitude's important. So maintaining an attitude of gratitude for all our callers and listeners this evening. Again, if you're listening live and you'd like to call in, 602-666-6027 is the call-in number. The lines are open. You can talk with Dr. Dean this evening. Also, again, our in-quick messaging system as well if you have a question you'd like to ask. Otherwise, we just go to the mailbag and continue to focus on those things. Carolyn, I did want to say real quick, though, over the break, I was looking at the article and some of the comments from what you were referring to earlier at the opening of the first hour about the doctor who wrote about suicide among medical practitioners, clinicians, and also doctors, and some of the comments were just shocking. I mean, the level of mental and emotional abuse that doctors face is really incredible. So I think you're right. I think a lot of people should read that article. It's on our Facebook page at rnareset.com if you're in our Facebook page, or you can email me at support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com, and I'll get you a link to it. Very good. All right, Carolyn, what shall we do? Let's see. Do we have anybody who's calling in and pressing us? Yes, I think we have somebody from the beautiful, wonderful place in Canada. Area code 905.
Hello, yes.
Yes, you're on the line. Could you turn down your radio in the background?
Yes, I'm going to have to turn that right off. I'm so sorry. I didn't think I'd get on this class. Unplugging it. Thank you. My name is Lois Carter, and it's so nice to so quickly be on. And thank you, Carolyn. I've been watching your videos like a crazy person, like 6 hours a day, the Magnesium Miracle, and I'm so overwhelmed. Everybody knows now I'm truly nuts. But my question is, they know now. I think they knew 30 years ago when I was reading Prevention Magazine, and I wouldn't let my kids eat the hot dogs at birthday parties. I alienated a lot of people really, really early, but I will quickly tell you I found myself a very young widow, which only made me even crazier about researching. It's been a process. I changed to greens. I became more aware of things as I went along, but unfortunately, the 2 or 3 good things I was doing for myself didn't balance out the 15 other things I wasn't doing good for myself, And I found myself here. Can you hear me?
Yes, but we do want to get you to ask a question. So I think you've lost most of us. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I found myself at 63 with osteoarthritis and a spondylolisthesis. So that's just from the way I worked and probably my personality, etc. So my question is they do want to do surgery. I have refused that and began to research and came across you within like 4 years here, and I'm just so glad. But I kind of don't know where to begin. I have started with extra hydration, the salt and the magnesium, only recently. And I'd like to, if you could sort of encourage me the next step. I haven't ordered the mag yet or anything, but would that be my next step immediately to go there?
Well, let's just, why did they want, just if you could briefly say, why did they want to do surgery?
Because of scoliosis and the spondylio, but mostly the scoliosis and pain. I have pain quite a lot. I'm walking a little strange because of the spondylio. And although I try to exercise and swim, and I've just been, half the people will say, you're crazy, go for surgery. You tried everything. But, you know, if something...
But have you tried, have you tried everything? Have you tried magnesium saturation and RNA drops and
there. I'm just discovering you. Like I was last month, and then I knew I hit something. I knew probably my mental state and maybe the stress and the not being to be 63. Today is my birthday. I'm not able to do my job anymore, like for 5 years now. So I know that kind of eats away at me. I recognize there's probably a mental aspect with it.
Okay, let me stop you there. I don't know that we're going to get too far with this because you've got so much to talk about. Can I ask you this? Can you afford to have a consultation with me? I don't know if I've ever asked this of a person, but I think you need to talk to me one-on-one about what's going on so that I can help you.
I know you're exactly right. And so I probably would maybe look, where would I find your email to ask about that?
It's on my website, drcarolyndean.com, and you go there and you click on Consult.
Yeah.
And it tells you what I do, and at the bottom, there's Contact Me or the info desk, and it has a couple of emails where you can reach me, and we can go from there.
Well, that sounds wonderful, and I think we both know that's what I need. And I'm excited with everything I'm reading, but it's all happening very quickly, and I'm pretty excited because I'm right where I need to be. I do have to ask you one little quick question. I did see that you went to Dalhousie University. That wouldn't be in Halifax. Was that in Halifax?
Of course it was in Halifax, yes.
Okay. Yeah, when I just landed on all your stuff like the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been listening to all your videos every day, but when I saw Dalhousie, I'm from Halifax, so I was pretty excited when you did that. I thought this is aiming me in the right direction. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to that one-on-one, very much so.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. And we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Very good. We're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. And yes, not that this is in any way a commercial for a consult, but it is very important if you feel that you have complex issues. Carolyn is available. I hear from people who do consults with her all the time, and they are dramatically improved by talking with her one-on-one. Plus, obviously, this is a public forum. She can't give out a lot of really precise information, and also she's very intuitive. And, once physiologically things have been resolved with the proper complement formulas and you're consistent with that, then you've got to go to the next, which is the body-mind connection, total biology, and all kinds of other things. And she has an amazing way with all that information and just her own instincts. So do not deprive yourself of a good time with Dr. Dean if that's what you feel you need in order to really get the rudder on your boat going in the proper direction. Yes, very much so.
Carolyn, for a good time. Exactly. Oh.
That is perfect. That's right. Call Carolyn for a good time. Very good. Wanda in Louisiana clicked in, Carolyn, and said, just learning about all of this. I'm very interested in learning more about Aya. Have slowly started on Remag, half a teaspoon a day at this point. I'm going to petition Carolyn personally to get that half a teaspoon off the bottle. I don't know how it ever got on there as a dose, but...
I know. Well, see, when you get people emailing us or phoning and saying, well, I took a whole teaspoon, my cells started exploding. Some people just can't take that much, and so I'd rather err on the side of low dosing. Because later on in the label, I do say it for therapeutic amounts. You can take more, but check with somebody first, because there's so many different types of people taking taking this magnesium, and very, very sick people. And I've had people tell me actually that they'll recommend Remag. People will go and look for something cheaper, and they'll buy something that isn't even like Remag and take it and have a bad reaction and say, oh, I can't take magnesium, because they think it's all the same, you see. And, this whole business about people, every day I get an email, well, there's this product. It looks kind of like yours. Why, why is it cheaper? And I'll say it's cheaper because it is cheap. You can buy dirt magnesium, put it in a solution, say it's ionic, and sell it for half or even a third of what we sell ours for. And I'll tell you, the price that you buy that for, that's what we're spending to buy it from our manufacturer, because it has to be processed properly. It has to go through so much to get it to the point where it is picometer in size and therapeutic. So yes, I mean, people will say as well that they'll take these cheap forms and they'll kind of be using the same wording that I use, or be mimicking what I've been saying about Remag, and then they'll feel worse. Or when they finally get Remag, they'll say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better I feel on this. So you get what you pay for. And the pricing on the Remag is certainly not high enough for us to do wholesale. So I've got the wholesale practitioners who are after me because they want to sell it and make their profit. And I got customers after me who say, well, this is more expensive than the ones I can get online, but there's reasons for it, and it all sorts itself out. People, as I said, when they finally do try the Remag, they know that it feels so much better in their body. It's 100% absorbed into the cells. I mean, this is what picometer means. And the next closest, these are minerals. The angstrom is what I used to use, and the highest parts per million is 9,000 parts per million. The other ones that are getting closer to mine, they are putting fulvic acid in it, which I think is detrimental. It causes a flushing in the body where fulvic acid is supposed to open up the cells to the minerals. Well, the picometer size is already making it small enough that it'll absorb naturally into the cells the way the body wants it. If you use fulvic acid, it's like you're forcing it into the cells, just like they try to force drugs into the cells. So there's a lot going on with the picometer stuff. And
hey, Carolyn.
Yep.
I noticed when I took the garbage out today, you threw out those little angstrom mineral bottles. It's great to see them being thrown out.
Thank you, Bob. We're done with them.
I think we should come up with a visual, Carolyn, response for the question, what is the difference between your product and the one I have? And it should be on one side, there should be like a beat up old, like 1971, old crummy car, like a Ford or something. And then on the other side, there'd be a Lamborghini. And it'd be like, okay, come on, I do tell people it's the Lamborghini of magnesium. So you can drive a Pinto if you'd like to, but it's not necessary, So, yeah, Remag is fantastic. It's fantastic. All right, we're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, and what say ye? Shall we go to our mailbag?
Oh, yeah, I've got a great mailbag here. It's a nice email from somebody who says, I only write to thank you. My gynecologist diagnosed a magnesium deficiency in my 26th week of my second pregnancy because of leg cramps, exhaustion, mood swings, anxiety attacks. I told her about the cramps. My husband mentioned the rest. Bless him. She wrote down to take magnesium oxide capsules. She said, I can take as much as I like if it feels good, but when I get loose stool, it's probably too much. And that she said you can't overdose. Now, this is the magnesium oxide that I kind of rail against because it's only 4% absorbed. So it's not going to really give you much magnesium into your cells, but it's a great laxative for people who are constipated. So then she says, I researched magnesium on the Internet because I'm a very curious person. I found your website and also found out that magnesium oxide was probably not the best choice. So I went and bought magnesium citrate instead. Well, what I shall say, within 24 hours, my cramps were gone, my mood lifted, my energy was back. My husband could not believe it either. I'm sorry about the second phone. We have two phones now, so we're under the impression that we can have these two phones, so I just have to cut people off. Within 24 hours, my cramps were gone, my mood lifted, my energy was back. My husband couldn't believe it. Over 4 weeks now, I slowly increased the daily dose from 400 to about 750. She dissolves it in water, drinks it over the course of the day. I now read in your book, The Magnesium Miracle, and found out that a lot of the symptoms my husband experienced were due to the lack of magnesium. He is now taking it. We do not argue anymore because none of us is stressed and snappy. We both sleep better. He does not snore anymore. His chest pain has vanished. His overall mood is so good I cannot believe it. He was a heavy drinker and smoker when I met him. He gave up smoking 8 years ago and drinking a year and a half ago. I only ever knew him with neurodermatitis. It's called eczema in the U.S. It's on his hands, worse in the winter. Last week he showed me his hands, and it was all gone. If you know it was there before, you might see some rough patches. Don't believe in coincidence. I think the magnesium helped him detox. It's only funny that my doctor seemed to know about it, but still wrote down magnesium oxide. I will ask her about that. We both thank you very much for this boost in our overall health and energy, and especially thank you for a very relaxed second pregnancy. So that's
wow, isn't that sweet? And just think about that little baby. That little baby's just going to come out just like a little chilled out, little happy person.
I know. That's what's so wonderful. And I mean, thank goodness that the doctor told her about magnesium, and then she did her research, and she found it on the Internet, and that's wonderful. And, yes, she can take magnesium citrate as long as she's not getting the laxative effect. As soon as you get the laxative effect with these magnesiums, you lose your magnesium through the intestines. So it's just important for, I think, for people to take magnesium. If you need Remag, fine. If you get the laxative effect, if you're really trying to detox or get rid of medications, but any magnesium will do. I know Ginny, customer service, doesn't like me saying that, but that's what I believe, and that's what I write about in Magnesium Miracle. I do talk about Remag, that's for sure, but I talk about the other magnesiums as well.
Yeah, I know you do. And when people, say, well, should I take this or that? I always say, well, Carolyn is on the National Magnesium Advocacy Board. She's like an advocate for magnesium. So we can't be brand specific, take Remag. But of course, we would say it's the best thing, take Remag. I have to do what it does. I am nice about it unless somebody really just pushes my button. But for the most part, you are an advocate for the whole mineralization of the cell. And so you don't want to discourage anybody from doing anything. But there does come to a level, especially if a lot of people who call us are already using magnesium and they're not getting the results because they get the laxative effect and it doesn't absorb. And or they're living on those IVs. And that's what you did what you're doing for in part, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, it was perfectly selfish in the beginning because I needed a form of magnesium that would not give me the laxative effect, and I couldn't find a company that would make it and, make it available to me and my patients. So I had to do it myself.
That's right. There she goes. If you want something done right, do it yourself. That's my motto, girl. All right, very good. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Achieve Radio. Shall we take a few live calls, Carolyn? If you have a question or comment for Dr. Dean, the lines are open, 602-666-6027. We've got a few callers waiting if you're ready, Carolyn.
Okay, very good.
Very good. Okay, I just took your phone off mute, but I can't see you're anonymous. So, hello, are you there?
Oh, hi. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, please. Give us your name and state your question or comment, please.
Oh, okay. Hi. My name is Lisa, and I was wondering if you have any idea, like, I have candida. I don't know. I have a foot fungus infection, and I know there's like a protocol, and I was wondering if the magnesium would help it.
Well, the last testimonial I read was someone with his eczema where it did help, and a lot of skin infections, even not infections, but skin conditions, including psoriasis, they can be yeast overgrowth, but they can be helped with magnesium. So I guess I would personally use a candida protocol as well as magnesium, and Ginny can direct you to the candida protocol.
I see. Is caprylic acid part of it?
That's right. Caprylic acid in an oil base, so it's a liquid, and it's mixed with psyllium seed and bentonite clay, and they kind of create a gel-like broom that sweeps through the intestines. That's what I mostly use.
Would I have to make all those different parts together, or do you buy it all together?
Ginny, can you tell Lisa where the information on all that is lying in the website?
Sure. If you go to, Lisa, if you go to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, drcarolyndeanlive.com, that's our weekly radio archive, and go to the search bar and just type in whole approach, and the candida treatment will come up. It's all typed out for you. You don't even have to listen to the radio broadcast in that post. And, yes?
drcarolyndean.com, whole approach?
No, drcarolyndeanlive.com, whole approach. Yes, ma'am. Yep, that's it.
Okay, and I was wondering, are you a naturopath or a medical doctor?
I'm both.
Oh, I see. So you used to practice medicine like a doctor?
Yeah, I practice like a doctor, but not really like a doctor because I didn't give a lot of drugs. I was a medical doctor licensed in Ontario, Canada. I practiced for 13 years, but most of the time I was able to do naturopathic things. The most medical thing I did was go into surgeries with my patients to save their organs.
Oh, I see. So you were kind of like an integrative doctor, like a medical MD and like integrated,
And Lisa, she's the poster child. She just won an award for integrative medicine for being a stalwart example. And also, I've seen Carolyn be asked by doctors, what kind of doctor are you? Family doctor, or this doctor, that doctor? She goes, a good doctor.
Oh, okay. That's why she knows so much. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Nobody knows as much as Carolyn. That's a fact. In the whole world, nobody knows as much as Carolyn.
Didn't she get an arrhythmia award or something?
Yeah. Yes, in Britain.
In Britain. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I hope to try the magnesium real soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, hon. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Very good. Very good. Yes, nobody knows as much as Carolyn in the whole wide world, Carolyn.
It is true. I mean, I've watched this for decades.
I know it's true. Yes, Bob.
And you could. Okay, so Carolyn can't do surgery right now. But if you brought a patient to Carolyn and the same patient went to a surgeon, probably Carolyn would fix him up and they wouldn't need the surgery. So she doesn't need to know surgery.
Okay.
When I was going in on surgeries with my patients, there was one time that a doctor, it might not have even been my patient, it might have been in my internship, and the doctor was doing, either taking a fibroid out or maybe just removing a cyst from an ovary or something. And I actually talked the doctor into saving the person's ovary. Because oh, well, we'll just take it out. You know, she doesn't need it or whatever. And I bet you, look, you could do that and this, and you could save it. And I could actually cajoled a doctor into saving an ovary. That's how crazy it is in those surgical suites.
Yeah, and I would add this, Carolyn. You're in an environment, and people hallucinate like a Rorschach ink blot on the environment. Carolyn knows so much about everything in allopathic and alternative medicines that she can be easily called a quack, because if they hear her discourse and talk about alternative medicines, which is just one small part of what she can do, they'll think that's all she knows, and they'll call her a quack because they only see one part of her. They only see the leg of the elephant of what she knows.
Yeah, tell them, maybe this is time to tell what Ed said the other day.
Ed Long?
Mm-hmm.
About the clavicle?
Yeah.
Well, he was astounded at what you knew in the particular difficulties he got out of it after it was treated. And he didn't think that you knew anything about that kind of medicine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he was flabbergasted at how much you told him.
Right. That turned out to be exactly right when he went back to his surgeon.
Right. I mean, Carolyn, I have no problem saying, if there is a medical genius, Carolyn's a genius. She doesn't even study this stuff. She learned it so well 40 years ago from a very hard school, Dalhousie, that it just pops out. It's like a jukebox. You say something, she doesn't even remember thinking about that knowledge in 20 years. But if you ask her, she has it right there. A very lubricant file in her brain.
Very good. Yeah, I'm surprised, Ed. Well, anybody who listens to this show for more than... So not only did Ed reveal his lack of confidence, but his inconsistent listening to this show, for which I feel that he should be moderately punished or chastised.
Yeah. To be shocked at Karen's knowledge is not excusable.
Yeah. It's just not... It just shows that he doesn't listen to this show very much, because you don't have to listen to this show long to know Carolyn knows her stuff all the way across the board.
And knows how to present it and knows it appropriately for each kind of caller. And you're flabbergasted every show by what she demonstrates.
Every show.
Right.
I am flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I'm agreeing with you completely, Bob. I'm always impressed with Carolyn.
And if you want to visualize her, think of Lily Tomlin on Saturday Night Live as that little 5-year-old psychiatrist. Remember that character that she do on Saturday Night Live? That's Carolyn.
Edith
little
Ann?
girl.
Edith Ann?
Yeah, Edith Ann, the little girl, the little psychiatrist.
Is the rock?
Yeah. That's Carolyn.
My name is Edith Ann, and I'm 5 years old. That girl?
No, wasn't there a child psychiatrist? Wasn't it the other one?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whoever was the smart psychiatrist, maybe in a rocking chair, that's Carolyn. Because she's the tallest midget in the world. Carolyn's the tallest midget in the world.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. Right. It was one of the characters. But it always reminded me, because Carolyn would sit there in her chair and her feet don't touch the ground.
Oh, my gosh. How hilarious.
She's the tallest midget in the world.
Well, she is a treasure, and everybody knows it except Ed Long, who has finally had to come to terms with it and figure it out for himself. Thank goodness.
He'll never know we're saying this about him because he doesn't listen.
I'm going to call and let him know you should listen to the archive of this show that we called him
Second hour.
That's right, in true hubris and spirit of joyful playfulness. No, Ed does a lot of great things, and he's listened to a lot of content, but, I feel that anybody who is healing for any reason at any time, and we know he's taking a little slipsy-tripsy over there, should be plugged into the Carolyn archives. They play 24 hours a day at Studio D, thanks to our wonderful producer, Bill. And you can listen to Carolyn's archives 24 hours a day. And I'll tell you somebody who has been greatly rehabilitated by that very exercise, and that's our good friend Melody Rose. because that woman was on the literal edge of death and got fetched off the side of it very quickly and applied herself to listening and transcribing archives, and she is in fantastic shape, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and every other way, physically as well. So there's a lot to be said for listening to those archives. So yes, Ed's going to have to be dealt with.
Yeah, Ginny, Carolyn can go to alternative medicine conferences, and she can be smarter than the alternative medicine people because she knows the services of the allopathic side in certain situations, whereas the alternative people are so allergic to mainstream medicine, they don't want anything to do with it. But Carolyn can go into any of those worlds and be an expert within those worlds. And the person that sees her as an expert in that world doesn't know she was an expert in the other world 2 days ago.
Yeah. I will tell you from my own personal experience what I have observed, especially in going to these Health Freedom Expo dealios. Not only is Carolyn's incredible range of information, and not only that experience, I mean, in a way, she, reminds me of what I did doing ministry and getting out in the street with the people and not just sitting up in a church somewhere and drawing people in and having them fill the coffers. I mean, Carolyn gets out on the street with people. But also, she has sponsored so many people and prepared so many people for their own levels of expertise and contribution. And one that comes to my mind right off the top is the guy who runs the Magnesium Advocacy Forum at Facebook. Carolyn taught him everything he knows. And, she's created a lot of people who have incredible scope of information and are really making valuable contributions in their area of endeavor because they have been under her tutelage. So,
hey Ginny, here's a nice story. When Carolyn had a practice in Toronto for many years, the secretaries would handle the incoming phone calls and make appointments. They would watch Carolyn solve problems so easily. They would pick it up and thought they could do it, and they would start consulting with people who were calling to make an appointment because they thought they knew everything because Carolyn made it look so easy. Remember that, Carol?
Yep, I believe it.
And they would get in trouble. And they would get in trouble.
They got so inspired by, someone sees a great musician, they want to be a great musician. They think they can do it, and they start trying to do it. But these people saw how simple wheat, sugar, dairy, blah, 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 which they thought was all you had to do is get rid of that. But it requires nuances with each patient, and the amateur doesn't know the nuances. And that's what they couldn't do.
Wow. Yeah, Carolyn is really awesome, and she's very generous and amazing with how she handles things. She's very generous with our audience. And, you're absolutely, positively in the right hand if you've got Carolyn in your corner. Absolutely, 100%. We love us some Dr. Dean. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah. But I think it really does, and it did impress me when I did hear the interview. This was over a year ago with Alan Steinsfeld, when Carolyn did talk about taking her days off to go sit in surgery theaters and observe surgeons doing work on her patients to make sure they weren't snatching out organs inappropriately. And at that time I thought, I knew Carolyn was special, and I'm not saying she, but in that moment I was like, not only is she special, but she's consistent. She's been doing it this way for years and years and years. And Sue Bone has handed me articles and books that Carolyn wrote, 30 years ago. She's had the same message. She's been consistent. She has a high level of integrity, and she's made a huge contribution to a lot of people, and she doesn't require anything in return. That's another thing that's just amazing. She's not an egotistical person. She doesn't run around, demanding a high payment for her services. Her products are incredibly reasonably priced. Somebody was saying how much the Remag was the other day, and I said, let me put this in perspective for you. That's $1 a day. Are you crazy? Are you absolutely crazy? that is not expensive for your health. So, what Carolyn has done and who she is and how she contributes to people is, if it's not legendary yet, it will be. And she doesn't require it to be that.
But Ginny, the first time Carolyn was investigated by the authorities in 1984, 30 years ago, they brought her into the College of Ontario because she was spending too much time with each patient, and it screwed up their computerized billing technology.
Yeah, I believe it. I totally believe it. And but building on that, reading this article tonight by this doctor who was commenting, as Carolyn shared at the top of the hour, about the level of suicide and the level of mental disease among physicians of every nature, whether they're surgeons, whether they're in high-stress positions like the cardiac and all the cancers, or
alternative doctors.
Alternative, it doesn't matter. Nurses, the things that have been written by these professionals about themselves and their field in the 524 comments that are on this article is absolutely shocking. And so, yes, to take that in the contrast of what people are experiencing in their field and the level of sorrow, despair, hopelessness, and to think that these people are trying to be bastions of health and vitality for other people, and then to know Carolyn and what her life is like, running around with the whales and, waving her magic blue wand all over everybody and seeing people, bodies naturally and effortlessly respond with a handful of minerals and a bag full of RNA drops. It's just incredible to see the disparity between those two. So obviously Carolyn's doing something phenomenally right to be in the position that she's in, and to the doctors and the medicine and who are under the influence of big pharma and medical boards and insurance companies and the jousting of the hierarchy of medicine in these hospitals and in these treatment facilities is just amazing. I mean, it's really, I do think everybody owes it to themselves to read that article. It's an eye-opener.
Yeah, Ginny, I've always had a sunny disposition, so living with Carolyn for 45 years, whatever it's been, I've had to run to keep up with her bubbly happiness. I think I had to. I'm trying to say that it's unbelievably a pleasure to hang out with Carolyn, and that's because she's never unhappy. She's a little kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and she's in a great position. She's got a beautiful mind. She's got an amazing spirit. She's been in integrity with herself. She's done fantastic work for hundreds of millions of people. She's been recognized by her peers. She has, the devotion of many people. And like I said, she doesn't require anything from anybody. She's very self-content, and she's doing what she's doing because she loves to do it. And there's not a manipulation in there about I'm doing this for you, so you're obligated some way for me. Not at all. It's a very, very healthy person. So we're very fortunate to have her in our world and also to get access to her for 2 hours every single week. The phone should just be ringing off the hook, 602-666-6027, just from people calling in and saying, I'm so grateful for you and what you've done, which a lot of people do. But to know that they can call in and get the information that they need from you, Carolyn, is really great. Thank you again.
All right, thank you, Janine. Thank you, Bob. Actually, I give thanks to Bob. If he hadn't have been there when I was going to medical school, I don't think I could have survived. At the time, I called it soul destroying, SOUL destroying. So every night, Bob would tuck me in bed, and he'd be there in the morning, and I'd go about my day. And I realized when I was reading this article on Dr. Suicides that these young people, young doctors, just did not have any support. They didn't have anyone to fall back on. I was talking to my friend on a morning walk and telling her about it, and she said, yeah, who do doctors go to when they need help? And what you'll read in this article, that the doctors go to higher ups who deal with addictions and whatever, and they're very punitive. They just continue the whole punitive, well, it's like a military operation, medical school, and it's the same with supposedly in the with the doctor addictions. They just blame the doctor all the time. So there's nowhere to turn, and thankfully I've always had Bob to turn to. So
yeah, but I did not give you normal emotional support. I just told you about the fantastic people and the experiences I was having every day all over the world, to the point that Carolyn, it was so alien to her experience. It was just a fascinating story she heard every night or every morning, and it led to her being hugged by Frank Zappa when she imitated his guitar solo.
That's right.
For my development.
Medical school, be hugged by Frank Zappa, the one and only. That's right. Very good. Very good, Bob. Very funny. All right. Very sweet interaction. Yes, Bob. We all love. Yes, we love Bob. Even Cody the Beagle loves Bob. All right. Shall we press on with some phone calls?
Okay, after that outpouring of overwhelming Thanksgiving, yes.
Yes, so that was our Thanksgiving feast. Very good. All words. We love to speak our words. All right, very good. Let's go to area code 650-650, California. You're on the line with Carolyn Bean. Give us your name and say your word.
Hi, it's Lisa again. Just checking in one more time.
Yeah, hi, Lisa.
Hi. I wanted to let you know that I know a lot of times people's work goes unappreciated. I know because you're sending stuff out into the cyber world, and you got millions of people probably looking at everything, but you don't know that they're really looking at your stuff. So I wanted to really thank you for the emails that you send out, the blog that you have, and then the recordings are phenomenal. Last week I gave you I called in about some panic issues, and all of you were so kind in giving me some great advice, and I was a little confused after I hung up, and I was able to actually go to that recording and find where we talked, and it cleared up all the questions that I had. So I just really want to thank you for all that you're doing.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. And I do have a couple other questions for you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I have a friend, my sister-in-law, who's now on your product, and she doesn't have a thyroid. She had thyroid cancer, and I know that she's having major issues with metabolism and everything thyroid related, and she's with a naturopath. But I'm always excited to say, oh my God, magnesium, relight, the salt, and that'll help with your thyroid. But would that be the same for someone who doesn't have one?
It would, in the sense that they can't take out every thyroid cell, so it would actually be supporting whatever little thyroid cell she has, but all those minerals are necessary in many, many other parts of the body and for many other functions. So I just mentioned thyroid because people know the thyroid.
Okay, well that's awesome. That'll help me make her realize, take this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then the other question I had is, I saw your email the other day about recommended doses, and in my mind, I always thought that you should take one dose of Remag to a half a dose of Relight. Is that changed now?
Well, things are changing all the time. I try to keep the Relight dose at a teaspoon and a half a day, and that's sort of the only constant. And then because the magnesium goes up and down with so many people. But just the other day, someone emailed and said, well, they took the leap and went up to 3 teaspoons of Relight, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of things cleared up. So everybody's different, and some people will just intuitively say, well, I want to try more, and they'll do it, and they'll feel better, and that's fine. the amounts in the Relight, I was looking over them again, they're very small amounts, but because they're 100% absorbed, they are therapeutic. So you're not going to OD on them. I think I made the Relight a teaspoon and a half because it keeps a person at the RDA of iodine if they take a teaspoon and a half, but we all know that the RDA for iodine is very low. So it's very hard to dose the whole world, with one message.
Okay, but I mean, if someone, ideally though, you tend to take more magnesium versus
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to make sure I was on the right track there. And then I had an interesting story to tell you. Tonight you mentioned about having to take water when you're taking your minerals in order for them to be absorbed.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that, and the one panic attack that I had, I was in a very small room in a train going to Beijing, and I woke up, just wanting to get out of that little room, and I was actually taking the magnesium. I was just squeezing the dropper into my mouth, and I kept doing it and was shocked that I was not getting any better. And
right.
I realized that I needed to put that in water in order for that to work. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be correct. I mean, if you have a twitch and you take a couple squirts in your mouth, it should help the twitch. But if you're in the middle of a full-blown panic attack, yes, you need to hydrate as well. And, sea salt would have been helpful, too, for the sodium that the adrenal glands require. So, yeah, there's always a balance that's required.
It's amazing. I've been listening to you for 3 years, and every time I listen to this call, I get something new. So thank you once again.
Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. You're wonderful. Thank you for calling in. Are you off traveling soon again?
Yeah, we're headed back to China in the middle of December.
Okay.
And we'll be back there. And now with the time change, though, I get to listen to your call. It's easier for me to listen to your call now with the time change, but otherwise it's a little early for me to get up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
but there's always the archives, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I listen to them while I'm tooling around in the hotel room. I listen to the archives, so it's great.
Oh, wonderful.
There's something about being here.
Hey, Lisa, do you listen to Payday?
No, when is that one? I guess
the archive's any time, but it's Saturday night for live interaction.
Okay. I have not done that. I guess that's why it's Saturday night. I tend to try to stay away from
No, go to the archives and just be amazed at the length of the show. It ranges from 13 to 20 hours.
Okay, I will do that.
Just marvel at the length of it. You don't have to listen to it. Just be in awe of how could someone do a show that many hours every week.
No, that I agree. Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Safe travels.
And if she'll be listening to this, the archive is ionandbob.com. It used to be ionandbob.blogspot.com, but now it's made it simpler. ionandbob.com. And you click on the Radio 2014 archive at the top, and you'll see the many hours that a lot of us have created, especially with Ion.
Okay, perfect. And thank you guys so much because you make me laugh all the time. I love it.
Well, we are funny. There's
we are funny. Yeah, Bob thinks he's a really big deal.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal, Lisa. Pretty funny at it, too.
That's great.
Happy holidays.
Hey, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Did you guys do the question, what is acid reflux, and does Remag help it? I don't recall that being discussed.
No, Joan just typed that in a few minutes ago when Lisa was on the phone. So what is acid reflux? But does Remag help it? That's from our friend Joan, who listens all the time.
Yeah, acid reflux, that's another word for heartburn, or they call it GERD. GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. They're always renaming these things. I don't know why. But it can happen where the esophageal sphincter and the top of the stomach are in spasm from magnesium deficiency and sort of holding the sphincter open a bit, and then food can push up and cause heartburn. So just taking Remag alone can help reduce the spasms of the sphincter and the stomach and stop heartburn. It is one of the magnesium deficiency conditions.
Very good. And if somebody doesn't want to take a PPI, a protein inhibitor or something, like a Prilosec, you recommend the DGL licorice or something like that, right?
Right. The protein pump inhibitors, they've actually put the warning label on the PPIs that they do cause magnesium deficiency, and that's an admission that you're going to see on a lot of drugs as they finally do the testing. But yes, in my Future Health Now encyclopedia, I have the DGL licorice, which is the safe licorice that you can chew one or two before a meal, and it kind of coats the lower part of the esophagus and the stomach, and it stops, it helps lubricate it, but it also seems to have an effect on stopping heartburn symptoms. So, yeah, people will tell me that they do just as well or better on the DGL as they did on their protein pump inhibitors, but I would take it along with the Remag as well.
Very good. A couple comments. Carolyn Sue Bone, Santiago, Chile. Hello, Sue. Her message. Hi, Carolyn and Ginny. Greetings from Santiago, Chile. It was my pleasure to have Carolyn come to Halifax, Nova Scotia 25 years ago and speak on chronic fatigue, stress, and the immune system. In 1989, nobody had any idea about why people were breaking down, and Carolyn not only explained this, but how to deal with it naturally. At the leading edge of taking responsibility for the individual's health. Thank you, Carolyn. Yes, Carolyn.
And I would add to that, just for the record, Sue brought down in... I would add to the record that Carolyn Sue brought Carolyn the year before, I think it was April 1988. That was the first year Carolyn spoke in Halifax. And then 89 she's referring to. So it's 26 years.
Very good.
And Sue's going, oh, Bob.
Don't forget what Ian told you, that little special message, Sue. That was for you.
Oh, God, okay. Nancy in Portland. Hi, all. What a wonderful discussion in tribute to Dr. Carolyn, her knowledge and brilliance. I'm loving knowing more about her. Have already sensed, since connecting to the program and receiving emails, how special she is and so knowing. It is awesome. Wish I could meet her and give her a hug. It is a blessing how generously she gives to us all. Listening brings frequent smiles. Warmly, Nancy. That's a very lovely note, Nancy. Thank you very much.
Thank
That's
you.
Very sweet. Yeah, very sweet. And if you want to hear the Carolyn interview with Alan Steinsfeld, it's on my 2012 RNA Radio website, and it's called Life by Modern Miracle. Life by Modern Miracle, and it was back in February of last year. And it's a very good interview where Carolyn talks a little bit more about herself and less about her product and about her journey through medical school and her dharma, as Alan wanted to refer to it, and what she's doing and what makes her happy and those kinds of things. So again, Life by Modern Miracle, you can find it on my 2012 RNA Radio website, or also it's at 2012 RNA Radio, the YouTube site, either one. All right, very good. All right, we're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Carolyn, do we have a couple more notes from the mailbag? Would you like to add something in that regard? Okay.
Sure. Yes, and it's just one or two more, but this one might take a few minutes. What I got was a question from someone who said, I just found out my blood test shows a creatinine of 2.1, BUN 36, all else normal. I've yet to see a kidney specialist. Kidney problems run in my family. I'm 62 years old on no medications, eat organic, gluten-free, etc. Trying to change my diet for kidney support, get more exercise. Been using the RNA drops once a day in the morning, also realign. Is it safe to continue with my kidney situation? if the Realign detox is kind of put too much stress on my already compromised kidneys, I stop both until I hear from you. I will be choosing alternative methods first and foremost in my kidney wellness journey. Now, this is where if this person consulted with me, I'd be talking total biology pretty early on, because when you have someone who's gluten-free, doing the diet, taking care of their health all these years, and they still end up with a problem, and where they talk about family association, you see, if in the back of your mind you know your family has all these kidney problems, then that's something that you're just going to take on. When you get a certain age, are you going to have the same conditions that your family had? So this is where, with total biology, where the kidneys represent the degree of support from my ancestors. Do I feel backed up by my dad and mom? And when you have a whole family with a history of kidney, then they're not supporting you. Your kidneys are falling apart because there's no support there. They don't have good kidneys either. So it becomes a double whammy. And recognizing that is really helpful and important, because as we've said many times, you aren't your mother's story or your father's story. You have your own story. And a lot of people will take on the story of their ancestors. Like, I took on the drowning of my male relatives and was always afraid of the water until I heard the story about the drowning in my, one second. Oh, that didn't help, did it?
Hey, let me say this, Carolyn. We've heard that story 100 times.
I thought it was mood.
I got 2 seconds. I just want to say that if you want to hear Carolyn's other personalities, come to Payday, and you hear remarks like this. On the last show Saturday, someone said, everyone seems so much more comfortable with ION rather than the stunned, paralyzed feeling, which I remember so well during the session she had 3-4 years ago. Thanks to all of you participants. So we want to thank Carolyn for what she adds to Payday. If you want to hear the happy, crazy, fun Carolyn, tune in Saturday night.
Very good. And with that, we have to end, Carolyn. We're running out of time.
We have to end.
Oh, it's been a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Oh, thank you.
It has been a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks to everybody, including JWION. We're very grateful for all the contribution and support. This has been Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Be sure to join us Saturday night for Payday with Bob, the one and only, beginning at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. and 0. That's right.
And sometimes you, Ginny, when you get a day off.
That's right. Very good. That's right.
Listening to Achieve